Hello, everyone. Happy New Year and welcome to the Wills, Women, and Wealth podcast. I'm Elsa W. Smith, your Maryland estate planning and probate attorney, and I'm thrilled to have you with us today. We're here to empower women who value their health, wealth, and the legacies that they're creating. This podcast delves into a diverse range of subjects, including finance, law, mental and physical health, and beyond. Our commitment is to furnish you with invaluable insights, engaging expert interviews, and enlightening episodes that address your questions on wills, estate planning, and probate matters. Remember, this is your community, and we want to hear from you. Engage with us, ask questions, suggest topics, and let's build a dialogue. Reach out to us on social media or drop a comment. Your input fuels the conversations that we have on this podcast. You can find all of our episodes on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. So make sure to subscribe and stay tuned for our upcoming content. We would really appreciate you following the podcast and leaving us a 5-star review. That'll amplify the podcast and gets it out to more people. Now on with the podcast. Today's topic is empowering love and legacies. 4 reasons couples should avoid joint wills. Now, here's the problem. I've encountered many instances where people contact our law firm inquiring about the availability of joint wills. Now, although joint wills may at first seem like a more streamlined, cost-effective, and simpler solution, there are notable drawbacks that dissuade many estate planners like myself from providing them. So first of all, let's define what a joint will is. A joint will is a type of will that covers 2 individuals, oftentimes a married couple. It typically includes instructions for how to divide an estate if one partner passes away before the other. The general plan usually involves the following. Upon the death of one spouse, the estate is transferred to the surviving spouse. Upon the death of the second spouse, the estate is then passed on to their children. Now, in this podcast, as the title suggests, I'm going to present you with 4 reasons why couples should avoid joint wills. Now, let's get started. The first has to do with individual wishes and preferences. Joint wills are often viewed as a convenient way for couples to express their shared desires for the distribution of assets, and that may seem like an efficient solution. However, there are significant disadvantages to having joint wills, particularly when it comes to individual wishes and preferences. So let's explore why this approach might not be as advantageous as it initially appears. So first, joint wills it's a singular document that outlines the combined wishes of both partners. Now, this might sound harmonious in theory, but it fails to acknowledge the inherent individuality within a relationship. Each person brings their unique experiences, dreams, and goals into a partnership, into this relationship. A joint will might inadvertently prioritize compromise over the authentic expression of individual wishes, potentially leaving each partner feeling that some aspect of their personal desires has been overlooked or sacrificed for the sake of unity. Consider the scenario where one partner wishes to allocate a specific asset to a family member or a charitable cause, while the other has different preferences. A joint will can create a tug-of-war situation where compromises are made, potentially leading to dissatisfaction and the neglect of individual priorities. It limits the freedom of each partner to shape their legacy according to their distinct values and relationships. Blended families with children from previous relationships add another layer of complexity. Joint wills may struggle to address the nuanced needs of such families adequately. For example, If one partner has children from a prior marriage and the other doesn't, a joint will may not offer the necessary flexibility to ensure that both sets of children are provided for in a way that respects the unique dynamics of a blended family. Business ownership further complicates the matter. Joint wills might not effectively cater to the intricate details of business succession planning. If both partners are involved in a business, their joint will may not clearly define the future management or ownership structure. This lack of clarity could potentially lead to disputes, putting the future of the business at risk. In addition, joint wills might create challenges when it comes to updating or amending that document. Life is dynamic and circumstances change. One partner may wish to make changes to their portion of the will without affecting the other's preferences. But joint wills often require mutual agreement for any changes, potentially causing delays or even disputes, especially if the partners have diverging views on those modifications. Privacy is another critical concern. Joint wills become public documents upon the death of the first partner, exposing personal details and financial arrangements to public scrutiny. This lack of privacy can be discomforting for surviving family members and may not align with the desire for a more discreet handling of personal matters. So, joint wills, while seemingly convenient, can be disadvantageous for a couple in terms of their individual wishes and preferences. They may lead to compromises that leave partners feeling that their unique aspirations are not adequately represented. The complexities of blended families, business ownership, and the dynamic nature of life itself make joint wills less adaptable and potentially more prone to disputes. Now, in contrast, separate wills offer a more tailored and flexible approach, allowing each partner to express their individual wishes and priorities, ultimately fostering a more comprehensive and satisfactory estate planning strategy. Now, on to the second reason, assets in sole ownership. We often find ourselves accumulating wealth and possessions throughout our lives, and it's not uncommon for certain assets to be held in sole ownership of one partner within a couple, whether it's a cherished property, a significant financial account, or any other valuable possession. The implications of sole ownership become paramount in the realm of estate planning. So consider this scenario. One person in a couple owns a property, a home maybe, solely in their name. It's a testament to their individual achievements, financial investments, or even a piece of family history. Now, when we think about the inevitable, about the time when we must face the delicate matter of estate planning, the question comes up, how can one ensure that these specific assets are distributed according to their wishes, without interference from the desires of the other partner? This is where the significance of having a separate will becomes profoundly evident. A separate will serves as a personal declaration, an articulation of an individual's desires regarding the distribution of their assets. In the case of assets held in sole ownership, it becomes a powerful tool to ensure that the owner's intentions are not only acknowledged, but also respected. Imagine the alternative, a joint will where the desires of both partners are consolidated into a single document. Now, while this might seem like a harmonious approach on the surface, it can create complexities regarding assets held in sole ownership. The joint will inadvertently becomes a battleground for compromise, potentially diluting the clarity and the specificity required for the distribution of these individual assets. Having a separate will allows the owner of such assets to wield control over their destiny of their possessions. It ensures that their hard earned property or financial accounts are bequeathed to the individuals or causes that they hold dear without the risk of conflicting wishes muddying the waters. This level of autonomy or empowerment granted by a separate will empowers individuals to shape their legacy precisely as they envision it. In addition, the separate will acts as a safeguard against unintended consequences. It provides a layer of protection for assets and sole ownership, shielding them from potential disputes that could arise in the absence of an unambiguous expression of that owner's wishes. It's a proactive measure to prevent the distressing scenario where the rightful beneficiaries of an individual's sole assets are left grappling with uncertainties and legal complexities. So, when we think about assets and sole ownership, we are contemplating the essence of personal achievement and the uniqueness of individual journeys. Having a separate will is not just a legal formality, it's a testament to the acknowledgement of one's autonomy over their possessions. It is how an individual can ensure that their assets, held solely in their name, are bestowed upon the chosen recipients in a way that reflects their values, aspirations, and the very essence of their life's work. So, as we navigate the intricate landscape of estate planning, let's remember the power and importance of a separate will in honoring the individual's wishes for assets held in sole ownership. Are you in Maryland or DC embarking on your estate planning journey? Let us guide you through the process. Join us for a complimentary 15-minute call with a member of our team. There's no obligation. Check out the show notes for the scheduling link. Your first step towards securing your family's future starts here. Let's continue. So far, the first two arguments against joint wills deal with individual wishes and preferences and assets in sole ownership. Now, we're going to discuss the third reason. It has to do with blended families, and we touched on this earlier. Estate planning is a journey into the future, a roadmap that charts the course of our legacy. It becomes even more complex and nuanced when we navigate the terrain of blended families. In our modern society, it's not uncommon for couples to come together with children from prior relationships. The dynamics of blended families introduce a layer of considerations that demand careful attention in the realm of estate planning. Consider this scenario. A couple deeply in love has children from prior relationships. Each partner brings a unique set of familial ties, responsibilities, and obligations into the relationship. Now, when it comes to envisioning the future and planning for the inevitable, how do they ensure that their respective children are provided for according to their individual preferences? The answer lies in the wisdom of having separate wills. Blended families require a delicate balancing act. Separate wills become the linchpin in this balancing act, enabling each person to tailor their estate plans to the distinctive needs and circumstances of their biological or adopted children. It's a recognition of the intricate tapestry that makes up a blended family, where loyalties, ties, and responsibilities are intricately interwoven. In a joint will, the challenge arises when attempting to address the divergent needs of children from different relationships. It might inadvertently lead to a one-size-fits-all approach that fails to capture the unique dynamics of each familial connection. The risk is that the desires of one partner may overshadow the needs of the other partner's children, potentially causing resentment, disputes, or unintended consequences. Having separate wills allows each person the freedom to articulate their distinct wishes for the welfare and inheritance of their children. It ensures that the biological or adopted children of each partner are considered individually, respecting the nuances of their relationships and the obligations that come with them. This level of specificity is essential to prevent any ambiguity that might arise in the absence of a clear delineation of each partner's intentions. In addition, separate wills provide the flexibility needed to adapt to changing family dynamics. Life is a dynamic journey, and blended families can evolve. The needs of children, the relationships between family members, and even the composition of the family itself may change. Having separate wills allows each partner to make adjustments to their estate plan independently, ensuring that it remains reflective of the current family structure and dynamics. Let's consider a scenario where one partner has children from a previous marriage and the other does not have children of their own. In that case, the individual without children might wish to allocate their assets differently, perhaps directing them toward charitable causes or other beneficiaries. Separate wills afford the autonomy for each partner to address their unique circumstances and aspirations, allowing for a more personalized and considerate approach to estate planning. So, to conclude this section, the beauty of separate wills shines brightly when it comes to blended families. It's a tool that acknowledges the diverse tapestry of those familial relationships and allows each partner to provide for their biological or adopted children according to their individual preferences. In the mosaic of blended families, separate wills become the brushstrokes that paint a detailed and thoughtful picture of how one wishes to leave their legacy. It's a testament to the intricacies of love, responsibility, and the desire to ensure that each blended family member is embraced and provided for in a manner that aligns with their unique place in the family constellation. As we navigate the landscape of estate planning, let's remember the importance of recognizing and honoring the diverse needs of blended families through the wisdom of separate wills. And now we reach the fourth reason why I believe that joint wills are not the best option for couples. And that has to do with business interests. Let's consider the complexities of estate planning, where the entrepreneurial spirit of a couple finds its expression not in a joint business venture, but in the individual ownership of distinct enterprises. In a world where each partner owns their own business, the intricacies of business ownership intertwine with the delicate matters of planning for the future. Now, in this context, joint wills may present unique challenges, and the importance of having separate wills becomes strikingly evident. So picture this: a couple deeply committed not just to each other, but to their respective businesses. Each partner has invested not only capital, but countless hours of dedication, passion, and vision into the creation and sustenance of their individual enterprises. Now, as they consider the future and the eventual passage of time, the question arises: how can they ensure that the business they've nurtured and built individually continues to thrive or transition seamlessly if one or both are no longer able to steer the ship? This scenario accentuates the intricacies of business ownership and the complexities of estate planning. Joint wills, by design, consolidate the wishes of both partners in a single document. While this might seem like a unified approach, it can present challenges when it comes to the distribution of business assets and the determination of future management or ownership structure, especially when each spouse owns a distinct business. Consider the possibility that one spouse actively manages, let's say, a restaurant business, while the other oversees a tech startup. These businesses inherently have different structures, stakeholders, and operational requirements. In a joint will, these nuances might be overlooked or misunderstood, potentially leading to complications and disputes. Each business, with its unique character, deserves an individualized approach to succession planning. Having separate wills, however, allows each business owner to articulate their individual wishes regarding their respective enterprises with clarity and precision. The restaurateur may wish for a family member with a culinary background to take charge, ensuring the continuity of the dining legacy. Meanwhile, the tech entrepreneur might have different preferences, perhaps desiring a key employee or partner to carry forward the innovative vision of that startup. Moreover, separate wills can address the distribution of business assets in a way that reflects the unique contributions and interests of each spouse. For instance, if one business has a higher valuation or requires specialized skills, the separate will can outline how the business assets should be allocated to ensure fairness and equity in the distribution. It's about recognizing the individual investments made by each partner in their distinct business ventures. Another critical consideration is the potential impact on employees and stakeholders. In a joint will, the fate of both businesses might be uncertain, creating a sense of instability among employees and other stakeholders. Having separate wills allows for a more meticulous and thoughtful approach to succession planning, ensuring that the legacy of each business is preserved in the interest of those who have contributed to their success are considered. Let's not forget the legal intricacies of business ownership. Joint wills might lack the specificity required to address complex issues such as partnership agreements, buy-sell agreements, or the incorporation of each business. The absence of this clarity might lead to legal battles, jeopardizing the very foundations of the businesses themselves. So, to sum up this last section, the ownership of separate businesses introduces a layer of intricacy into estate planning that demands a meticulous and strategic approach. Joint wills, while perhaps suitable for simpler familial structures, fall short, I believe, in addressing the nuances of individual business ownership within a couple. Having separate wills becomes not just advisable, but essential in navigating the complexities of distribution, succession, and the future management or ownership of each business. It's about preserving the legacies of the business, respecting the individual contributions of each spouse, and ensuring a seamless transition that safeguards the dreams and aspirations embedded in their entrepreneurial journeys. Now, as we consider our estate plans, let's be mindful of the profound impact separate wills can have on the preservation and continuity of the businesses we've individually labored to build. I want to wrap up by saying that estate planning for couples is nuanced, and joint wills may not be the optimal solution, especially when considering individual wishes, sole ownership of assets, blended families, and distinct business interests. Joint wills consolidate preferences, potentially neglecting the unique aspirations of each partner, leading to compromises. For assets and sole ownership, separate wills become crucial, providing autonomy and safeguarding against disputes. Blended families demand flexibility, and separate wills allow for tailored provisions for each partner's biological or adopted children. In the realm of business ownership, joint wills lack specificity for effective succession planning, making separate wills essential for addressing the intricacies of management, ownership, asset distribution. Recognizing Recognizing the disadvantages of joint wills emphasizes the importance of separate wills in offering a more comprehensive, flexible, and individualized approach to estate planning for couples. If today's podcast has provided you with educational value, share it with someone you value. We assist couples in Maryland and the District of Columbia who are trying to get started with their estate planning, and we can do the same for you. I invite you to schedule a complimentary 15-minute call with a member of our team. The link will be in the show notes. Thank you for joining me on Wills, Women, and Wealth. Until next time, this is attorney Elsa W. Smith, your Maryland estate planning and probate attorney. Stay informed, stay empowered, and take control of your legacy.